All right, welcome to another edition of the Franklin Community High School Career Exploration Project. Today we have with us Jessica Smith, and she will be talking on the veterinarian, vet tech, vet assistant, veterinarian in general portion of this. So why don't you talk about what your role is right now, and then also the experience that you've had.
Sure. So my role currently is kind of two-sided. So I'm the vet careers instructor at Central 9 Career Center, and I've been here since 2009. I also work as a vet assistant at a clinic in Indianapolis. And so I've worked there since 1997. So I've been doing that for quite a while. So I get to see kind of both sides of it. I get to do the education part, but then I also get to do kind of the hands-on part, which is nice because I can bring some of that into the classroom. So.
Right. Yeah. So what kind of education did you have or education and training for that?
So to be a vet assistant, there really is no college education. It's just kind of on the job training. Okay. And so I started as a high school student working in the kennel, and then I moved my way up to working as a receptionist and doing some more hands-on things there. I did go to college to be a teacher. So I have a 4-year degree from IUPUI in education. And so my best advice, because there's so many different fields within the veterinary field, is to do some research, because vet assistant doesn't take any real degree to do. It's more hands-on, but then to be a vet tech, that's a little bit different. So.
Yeah. So, what led you to this? What led you to be into vet and, into the veterinary field? Did you have a lot of animals growing up, or grow up on a farm, or how did that go?
I did not grow up on a farm. So my large animal experience is pretty small, but I grew up having animals and just loved animals. And so I wanted to be, for a long time, wanted to be a veterinarian. And like I've told my students, being a veterinarian is not as easy as people think it is. And so as I got into college, I decided I didn't want to be in college for at least 8 years. And so I chose a different career path, but still kind of kept my roots in the vet clinic setting, because I had a lot of friends that I worked with, and I would go back and work on breaks when I wasn't in school and that kind of thing. So really just a love of animals. And it really taught me how to be a good communicator, taught me really good teamwork skills. And I just feel like it's home. So.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those where, you're just people who are in it are just super passionate about it. And,
yes.
And it's very, you've got to be when you're in a field like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you see some of the pros and some of the cons are in this? Obviously, you get puppy kisses, so that's
absolutely. So I mean, definitely pros are you get to be around animals all the time, and even if they're not puppies, a lot of times they're happy to see you. They're not all happy to see you, but sometimes they're happy to see you. So
the cats aren't, right?
Yeah, it is nice because you get to work with animals all the time. I would say for some people, the downside is that those animals almost always come in with a human attached to them, and so you do have to learn how to deal with humans as well. So I've had a lot of students that have taken my class and they're like, well, I like animals, but I don't really like people. And if you talk to anybody that's in the vet field, they'll tell you, you have to at least deal with people. You might not like them, but you have to at least deal with them. So dealing with people is probably, for some people, maybe one of the downsides. But yeah, dealing with animals, I really like science. So you get to do a lot of science stuff, which is kind of fun. I like the skills. I love like assisting with surgery and that kind of thing. So those things to me personally are very interesting. There are some downsides. I mean, some sad stuff, which can be really hard to deal with. But, there's always kind of that silver lining, and you get to help people through those tough times and kind of form relationships with people that maybe you wouldn't usually form relationships with. I think too, and it's coming more to the forefront, the veterinary field in general is a really tough field to not only get into, but to stay in. There's a lot of burnout for people at every level of vet careers. So not just veterinarians, but techs and assistants. So really working on keeping like your mental health and your emotional well-being kind of intact, and make sure that you're kind of a strong person. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but I think as long as you really focus on the work and you like the work you're doing, it is rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. You
Yeah.
probably got a little bit of a mental health counselor in you too at some point.
Yeah, sometimes because people have to make some really tough decisions, and they will sometimes lean on you to help you with those decisions, and that can be a tough spot to be in. So
yeah. So what type of person would be good in this role, and what type of personality or person may not be as successful in the role?
So I think there's kind of two aspects of it. First of all, which may be the easiest part, is the physical part. So there are a lot of times, and especially if we work with large animals, it's a very physical job. You may not be sitting very much. You might be bending over, leaning, kneeling. You're in all kinds of different positions because you're working with the animals and you have to accommodate what works best for them. So just being able to lift and stand and do those physical aspects of the job can be difficult for some people. But I also think just the personality, kind of mental aspects of it, you get to, I think if you look at it in a positive way, you get to work with so many different types of people. For some people, they're not used to that. Especially coming out of high school, it can be difficult because you're around your peers all the time. And so you're not used to working with people who are older than you. And as you get older, working with people who are younger than you. So there's a lot of generations that you're working with. And we have clients at our clinic from lots of different backgrounds. We've had clients who are hearing impaired that we have to communicate with. We've had clients that are English is their second language, and we have to learn how to communicate with them. We have elderly clients who can't hear very well at all. And, you have to learn to deal with them on kind of their level and make sure that they understand the treatments for their pets and that kind of thing. So just learning to deal with so many different people. I think as a high schooler, looking back, it was a great experience for me because I worked with people who were my parents' age and even older than that. And I got to be friends with people that were not really my peers necessarily. Right. So, yeah.
So, what's the best way for someone to prepare for a profession in the vet field?
Yeah. So it depends on kind of your goal, your end goal. And sometimes you don't know what that is at this point. But I would say getting your foot in the door somewhere, and that could be multiple different places. And right now during COVID, it can be very difficult, but getting out there and volunteering and meeting people that are in the field and asking lots of questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions because they want you to ask questions. So asking them, what their daily routine is like, asking them how they got to that point. And it doesn't have to be just the veterinarians. It could be the vet techs. Any veterinarian and vet tech will tell you that the vet assistants are just as important because it's a team effort. So really asking all of those people, how did you get to this point? And how did you know this is what you want to do? And what are things to expect or maybe things that I wouldn't expect? So I think just getting out in the field and talking to people, and that can be very intimidating for a high schooler because you're going into, it's like a new job, you're starting a new job and you don't know these people, but they want a good future for the veterinary field. So they want to make sure that they're getting the right people in too. So I would say, just making sure that you're, getting out there and meeting people and kind of networking with those people. As far as high school goes, lots of science, lots of math. So any colleges will tell you, it doesn't have to be your favorite subject, but you got to have a really strong background. So lots of science and lots of math.
Okay. You are in the classroom. You see high school kids every day.
Yep.
General advice for high school kids, like just overall, not even for vets, just general advice.
General advice is develop good habits. And some of us don't even know where to start with that. But asking somebody who's going to give you an honest answer about what kind of habits are good to develop, developing some structure in your day, especially with hybrid and virtual learning right now. I see a lot of students struggling with that, but developing those good habits. I would say, getting out of your comfort zone. And for some of my students, that's getting out and job shadowing or volunteering, but finding a way to challenge yourself and doing things that are kind of uncomfortable at first, but are good for your future. I think that's probably one of the best pieces of advice, is just getting out there and don't stay in that same comfort zone that you're always, in. Get out and meet people that are in the field you're interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just do the research, get the work in there so that you can see, because it's better to find out that you may not like it when you're this age than when you're
Absolutely.
graduated.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jessica Smith. She's
Thank you.
talking about the veterinary careers, she's an instructor at Central 9, our great career technical program, or I don't know why I always have so much trouble saying this.
We changed our names a lot. So we used to be vocational, and now it's career and technical education. So it changes.
Career and technical education partner. How's that? That sounds good.
Sounds great. That sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Jessica.
Thank you. I appreciate it.